Well, welcome to our show. This is Rafael with Casita Big Dog Rescue, sponsored by ValuePetSupplies.com. Today, we're going to touch on bullies. How many different breeds there are, how many different personalities there are within the breeds. They are wonderful dogs. I've had them all my life. I've raised 2 wonderful children with them. All my children own bullies as well. A lot of my friends do. They are not dogs for everyone. It takes a special type of person to own a bully breed. Everybody gets them, then they realize in 3 to 4 years of their life how they progress and how they change. People are not aware of that because they don't educate themselves before they go ahead and make a decision. They are the most wonderful dogs in the world if handled properly and if understood. Today we're going to be meeting Jimmy Z. I have spoke to him numerous times on the telephone. He was recommended to us at Casita Big Dog Rescue through one of our adoptees named Cheryl. She turned Jimmy on to us. He's so far he's been a really nice friend over the phone and everything. He's watched our videos. He asked for help. I sent him some really valuable links to some really wonderful websites that helped in him understanding the type of dog he has. So no further ado, this is Jimmy Z. Jimmy, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for coming down. Been looking forward to meeting you. And this is Ro. And Ro is how old, Jimmy?
About 2.5.
She's 2.5 years old. Now this is a Staffordshire Terrier. This is one of the many breeds. There are Staffordshire Bull Terriers, there's American Staffordshire Terriers, this is a Staffordshire Terrier, there's American Bulldogs, there's so many different breeds. This is the first time I'm meeting Ro, and as you can see, look at this. What a sweetheart she is. And she's a little bit of a camera hog, but that's okay. So when I first talked to Jimmy over the telephone, he mentioned to me that he had taken her to a dog park local here with Bark Central, which is run by the Bryant family, and very knowledgeable people and very good. So he brought Ro to the park, and she was getting along just fine, you know, and everything was just going just dandy that day. And then one dog in particular came up, and Ro had a slight issue with her, and that's very typical for the breed. It's very typical for any dog. You know, it's just like people. We're not going to meet everyone we like, unfortunately, and the same with dogs in the dog world. You're not going to meet everyone that you like right off the bat. These breeds, people don't want to hear this, but it's very true. These breeds were bred to fight. They were bred for blood sport. And that doesn't mean that they were bred to be mean. They were bred for certain jobs, specific jobs, and that's instinct. You cannot change instinct. I repeat that over and over again. You can change behavior, but you can't change instinct. Contrary to belief, people feel like all dogs can be changed and modified. They cannot. Some dogs just don't get along, and they never will. Bullies are that exact way. I have one. I have an American Bulldog. Everybody knows Big Lug. He's great with all our guys at home, at the pack, back at Casita and everything. But there is that 1 or 2 dogs that he's not going to get along with. It seems a challenge to him. They are dominant. It's a dominant breed, just like Dobermans, just like German Shepherds, Mastiffs, Cane Corsos, Crescent Canaries. These are all dominant breed dogs. These are dogs that have to be owned with extreme caution. I always use the analogy, owning a bully is like owning a gun. If you don't keep it well oiled and well maintained, it will backfire on you when you go to use it. So Jimmy brought our little girl down here to see a little bit of assessment. From what I understand, she went to her first class today over at Bark Central. Yeah, see Ben down here? We went over today at Bark Central, and Mr. George Bryant, which is my mentor, and he taught me a lot of what I know. He was helping Jimmy with this with her today. And how'd she do?
Did real well, real well. Yeah, she said. He said that she did a phenomenal job. There's a few things need to work on. She gets a little overexcited and distractions, but other than that, her commands, she does real well with her commands and so forth. So
that's great. How was she? Was there any other dogs there? Did you have any issues?
Yeah, there's a lot of other dogs there. No other real issues, but we didn't really. It was first class, so
right.
We didn't really integrate that route. Same. Go back. Yeah, we didn't really integrate them too much on day 1. So
okay. So this is a dog. It's typical. I mean, like I said, there's so many typical personalities. Some bullies like all dogs. Some bullies like some dogs. Some bullies like no other dogs. And that is just typical of the breed. It doesn't make them a bad breed. They're still great with people, great with children. This is a breed people ask me all the time, what's the best dog for a child? Right here. These guys are built like tanks. They can take the punishment of a child. They were originally called nanny dogs. They were bred back in the 1800s. They came over from Staffordshire, England, and they were bred to protect children while the farmers went out in their field to tend to their crops. They would leave these guys at home to make sure that they'd be protected against coyotes, against wolves, against bear, against cougar. That's why they are so stocky and they're built so powerful. That's what they were specifically bred for. Then, because there were people out there that were very poor, they used these guys for sports. So what their sport was back then was baiting. And they would take these dogs and they would place them in a pit, and then they would place them against rats, and they would bet on how many rats they could kill in X amount of time. So that was the poor man's, excitement for back then. That was their sport. That's like we watch football, basketball today. That's what they did over in England. Then they started using them for bull baiting, and this is where the name came from. Pit bull is really not a breed of a dog. Pit bull, it covers a various array of dogs. Boxers are pit bulls. Jack Russell Terriers are pit bulls. Pugs are pit bulls. Boston Terriers are pit bulls. So it's just a large array of dogs again. And they got the name pit bulls because they used them for bull baiting, and they also fought them in pits. And hence the name pit bull. But they were designed for fighting. That's why they are so powerful and muscular. This is something that's been bred into them. And then they will use later on, today, unfortunately, for dog fighting. They also did dog fighting back in the 1800s, and what they did was, when people say these dogs are vicious because they're fighting in a ring, it's not true, because they had to be bred specifically not to bite their handlers. When you got two dogs fighting in a ring, you want to be able to reach in there and grab them without them turning on you. And what they would do back then, they would have the other handler manage the other dog. And if at that time that dog turned on anyone that was handling it, if it was hurt, they would have that dog destroyed. So what they did is they perpetuated the good breed, so they were always good with man. So when people say, oh, they do this, they attack people, they attack children, that's not true. It's all up to the owners. Any dog could be taught to be made mean. These guys just get a bad rep because of their size and their power. So if you do not know how to properly educate these dogs and educate yourself, you will have a problem. They are naturally protective. You don't have to make them mean. It's not necessary at all. That goes for mostly ignorant people that want to feel macho and tough by owning one of these dogs. I highly recommend people like that do not own one of them. And there's a lot of laws in effect today called breed-specific legislation, where a lot of counties and a lot of states, as soon as these dogs are brought into the shelter, they're destroyed. And it's all because of people's negligence and lack of education. But the bottom line is, these are great dogs. They've been around for a long, long time. At one time, they were also called Yankee dogs. During World War II, these were the dogs that were all over posters everywhere promoting our servicemen, promoting what we did to help the war. They helped sell bonds. Little Rascals, Petey, he was an American Pit Bull Terrier, okay? Another great dog. There's just so many of them. One of the first dogs to ever win a gold medal of honor was a dog named Buster, and he was a Staffordshire Terrier, just like Roe right here, same type of dog. So these dogs have a great lineage, a great history. It's the people that own them that do not do the right thing by them. So we always say due diligence, educate yourself, and then follow through. So that's part one of our little series here. We're going to show you a couple of other dogs. Roe is one of the breeds. She's wonderful. As you can see, I've never met her before. Look at this. She has to have a bad bone in her body. So we're going to continue to help Jimmy Z here with Roe to make sure that she continues to grow up to be an ambassador for the breed. And we want to thank Jimmy so much for owning this dog, because she looks terrifying, but she is a marshmallow. Would I do this to a dog I didn't know? No. I don't recommend anybody doing that, okay? Dogs can't bite. Be cautious. I've been doing this for a long time. I know what I'm doing. I wouldn't allow myself to get hurt. Never leave your dogs unattended with children at any time, no matter what breed. Due diligence. Remember to spay and neuter. Continue watching and see how the bully breeds turn out. Thank you.